Hi kids, this is what I'm going to be showing you how to make. Not this exact thing, but this kind of thing. As you can see, so what we're going to learn to make is the planet, make it look like a planet, put those stars in the space around it, and get this camera to fly by it like this. Blender 2.82. Oh, by the way, also if you look in the lower left hand corner, you can see the keys I'm using. I'm going to try to mention them because that thing for some reason doesn't show you all the keys. But it's at least a help. So the first thing we need a planet. A few ways of doing it, but I'm going to use this cube. I'm going to add subsurface modifier, crank it up to 5. I'm going to add a cast modifier, set the factor to 1. Then apply the both of them. Okay, now I've got a perfect sphere made up of quads. Make sure that's selected. Right click, shade smooth. Okay, good. That's my sphere. First, let's make it look a little bit more like space. So just make the background black. Then turn on the thing. There we go. Now we've got a planet in space, although we don't really. First, let's make it look like Jupiter. Going to material. So let me change this to diffuse. Then change the color to an image texture. You can do that? Yeah, you could do that. Then I'm going to open a lovely Jupiter map that I have on my desktop. And I'll make this available to y'all. As you can see, it looks kind of mutilated. There's a reason for that. Go down to vector. It says default. Change it to generated. There you go. Jupiter with big holes in the top. And then change this to sphere. Jupiter with big holes in the top. That upsets me. You'll have this. So let me pick my other Jupiter map. I could patch that because I really like the color of this one, but I won't. Instead, I'll go to here, pick this one, and that one's good enough. So you can see there's a line coming down here where it doesn't match up quite right. Some maps are better than others. I'm going to show you how I'm going to deal with that. I'll show you right now. RZ. I'm going to rotate Jupiter to move that seam into the shadow. Then pick the light, change it to sun. Wow! Powerful sun. But the sun is not pointed the way I want it to be pointed. So let me change the rotation. Okay, that's great if Jupiter would be Uranus, but it isn't. See, because Uranus has its poles pointed directly at the sun. Did you know that? That's cool. I mean, sometimes it depends where it is in orbit. Not the point. Point is, I want to rotate this around Y, say 90 degrees. Now we have the sun coming from the direction the sun would actually come from, and we just need to tune that down a bit. I usually use it at about 5. That's not bad. Now we need some stars. I'm going to, all you do is you grab at the corner and just pull. Gives you a new window. And I'm going to make this a shader editor, change this to world and N, get rid of that. And this gives us our background. Right now our background is black. I'm going to throw in my universal texture that I use for, oh my god, I can get this to do everything. Distance, Voronoi, and then scale it up a bit. You'll see that now Jupiter is surrounded by open cell styrofoam, which is pretty creepy universe it's living in right there. If we put in a color ramp, I flop it. What's it called? Flip color ramp. Now it's surrounded by closed cell styrofoam. Just put more black in there. And when you get it to a certain point, all of a sudden you got stars. It's like a miracle. Now I take a look at that. Jupiter surrounded by stars. Let's keep going. Now I can make those stars better, and I'll explain how to do that later. Right now we just want to get a camera move going. And move the camera to 0 in the Z. Okay, that puts it on the ecliptic, which means, see, if we send stuff from Earth out to Jupiter, it goes on the ecliptic. Okay, we don't go much above or below that. So you're going to see stuff from this angle. If it's supposed to be something coming from Earth going by Jupiter. If it's coming from any arbitrary place in space, then you can do whatever you want. Okay, now let me look through the camera, hit R a couple times and get that planet centered. And now if I render it, looks like this. That's fine, that's fine. Now, okay, let's do it. It's coming this way. Hit I to keyframe the location of that camera. And I'm going to move it to 250. Now, G, not Z. That's Shift Z, by the way. Put it about there, then keyframe that. Now if I hit the space bar, you'll see the camera starts there, nice and slow, speeds up, goes past the thing, slows down. We don't want that. With the camera selected, go into Graph Editor. See all these curvy lines? That's the slowing up and the speeding down right there. So we go into Channel, Extrapolation Mode, Linear. And that straightens them all out. Now it just starts off at the right speed and continues. No problem at all. If we look through the camera, you'll see that at the beginning, starts off in frame, then it moves out of frame. So we want the camera to follow the movement of the planet. So what I'm going to do is go to the camera, go to the constraints, add a track 2 constraint, and track it to the cube, and you'll notice if we look at that now the top of the camera is pointed at the planet, which doesn't do us any good at all. And that's because what it's aiming toward and what is up are set by these things, and it's always set wrong. So we want to change this to -Z and change this one to Y, and now the camera is pointed to the planet. So if I actually look, there's the shot. Let me put the texture on it. Okay. Is at this point the shot's a little too boring. There's a few things we want to do. First thing I want to do, see how it just goes straight? It's an absolutely straight line. Wouldn't do that. So what I want to do is get it to about here. And G, not Z. Pull it out a little farther and hit a location on that and see what we got there. Okay, now I have a little bit of a curve, I think. The problem is the camera is dead static. It is right on there. It's a very boring shot. There's two other problems. We'll get to those in a moment. But first, I want to deal with that dead static camera problem. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add an empty. And then I'm going to change my camera thing from cube to empty. Now nothing's changed. But I have an empty in there. And now the camera's looking at the empty, not the planet, which means it gives me the ability to move the camera. So just to get a direction on it. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay, we could just do this. Okay, it's coming this way, which means I want it a little bit to the right. So I'm going to grab this and just put that over there. Okay. Now we'll see how it looks. See, now it's going too far off. So there, we've got that. Here. Oh, I forgot. Location key. All right, now bring it to here. kind of going off a bit. I don't like that. So G, move it like that. I. Okay, now let's see what we got. And at this point, G. And G. Want it to go a little bit to the right to let you know the shot's ending, but this is the boring part, kids. Let's see what that looks like. Ah. Not bad. Okay, now there's a couple of things I wanted to mention. One is that Jupiter spins really fast and is huge. It's like 300 times the size of the Earth, and spins has a 10-hour day, which means it's a lot wider than it is high. It bulges out 6% more at the equators than at the poles. So hit S, Shift Z, 1.06. That's actually shaped like Jupiter. What other things do we need? Oh, we've got, what do you call it working here? Eevee. So I got to turn on Bloom, because why wouldn't you? And motion blur. So let's render that real big. Yeah, you can see the stars are blurring a bit. When it gets in real close, you should see the texture on the planet is also blurring a bit. Yes, it is. Okay, that's all very, very motiony. Okay, there after a few minutes of rendering, that's the final shot we just made. I'm going to give you this Blender file, and somewhere around it I'm also going to give you this texture. Although if you look around, you can find a better texture than this one. Make sure if you like the video that you hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, because the next couple of videos coming out, one of them is I'm going to be showing you how to do a proper star pattern. This one I just threw in quick because it needed to be there. But by fiddling with the procedural textures, you can get very deep space pattern, lots of very just gorgeous looking. But that's a whole video in itself. Also, making a proper planet is a whole video itself. I was just showing you how to cobble together a scene like this fairly quickly. Hope you like it.